Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us at today's council meeting. So what we've got here are the Challenger decks. So these have new packaging, so I figured we'd open the decks and talk about them, talk about the prices. One thing I'm going to note, this was sealed when I bought it. By the time I got home, it had popped open. So we'll start with this one. I mean, it's still sealed in the package, so just be kind of careful with these, I think. Because I don't think that they're going to quite stay as tight as people are saying. So, I mean, it's very obviously loose here. So you can put it on and pop it off super easy. And I think the other ones, oh, they're a little bit better glued. So we'll go ahead and start with the red one since I've got it partially opened. Now, I had liked the previous iterations of these a lot, but this time around, I'm just not sure about the deck choices. And we'll talk about it as we're opening these. Mono deck wins, mono red wins, so red deck wins. It's pretty standard, so it comes with 2 copies of Shatter Skull Smashing. Then Spiteful Hazards, a copy of Embercleave, 4 Fervent Champions, 4 Kargan Intimidators, 4 Bone Crusher Giants, 3 Torbrands, 2 Castles, the Mountains, Sorted Commons. Rimrock Knight is actually a pretty good one, 4 copies of Annex, Shock, Royal Eruption. So there could have been some better choices for this. They have a little bit better cards that I actually would have mainboarded that they have on the sideboard here. I would have had more hasty creatures going into this. So we've got Relic Robber, really good one, but I run 4 copies of this. We got Roiling Vortex. Not sure why Soul Guide Lantern. Then Thundering Rebuke, I would have mainboarded that one. Soul Seer, and then tokens. So overall, it is a decent amount of rares. Torbrands, Bone Crusher Giants are always good. I like the Fervent Champion. Copy of an Embercleave is pretty good. So overall, decent deck. I'll have the total here for the value of the deck. Nice thing, I think this is going to fit in here double sleeved with what's available, so that is a good thing. So let's do our next one, which is the Rogues. So looking at the deck beforehand, it looks like it's a pretty standard Rogues build. I don't anticipate it being anything, although this is pretty cool to get a copy of Rankle like that. I don't think it's anything too groundbreaking. It's a pretty straightforward deck. If I can find the tab here. There it is. Also, the plastic is seeming to be a bit hard to get off for these. So they are trying this new packaging, and like I said, just be careful when you buy them. So 1 copy of Malachor Rebirth. Okay, so we got a Rankle. We got Thieves Guild's Enforcers, which are useful. Vantress Gargoyle. 3 copies of that. 3 copies of Night's Hawk Scavenger. 3 copies of Zera Sun. 4 of Temple of Deceit, which is good because that is a bit pricier of those, but then you can have these tap lands. The Wind Robber, which is good. 4 copies of Soaring Thought Thief, Drown in the Loch, Blood Chief's Thirst, Eliminate, and Heartless Act. So not too bad for the main board. There are a few that I would have included as well. Yami Sky Dancer is a pretty good one. Let's see if they have that one. So I'm seeing removal and duresses, and then tokens. So not a terrible deck, although there is only 1 mythic in it. But again, this is not a deck that really needs a lot of mythics to run well. So pretty standard fare for Rogues. I think that one's okay. This is the one that I had the biggest problems with, the Mono Green Stompy. So we'll show you with the deck here, but it's missing a vital component. So if you've ever played this deck at all on Arena, there is one card that is always included that is not included in this deck. So see if you can figure it out as we open it. So again, pull tabs, okay, that one's a little bit easier to open. Very weird situation there with pull tabs. So we've got 2 of Turn Timber, 3 of the Mammoth, a Garruk, 2 Stone Coil Serpents, 3 Swarm Shamblers, 2 Scavenging Oozes, 2 Wildborn Preserver, 2 Yorvo, playset of Lovestruck, 2 Gemraiser, 3 Primal Mites, Wildwood Tracker here, Surferin, Thrashing Bronodon, Ram Through, and Snakeskin Veil. So hopefully you've noticed the major card that is missing from this deck. Look at the sideboard, and we'll talk about kind of some of the things that I would have done differently, because there are some differences. Ambush, Arachnar, Return to Nature, more Veil, more Brontodon, Occam Adversary, and Run Afoul with tokens. So the biggest thing missing from this is the Great Henge. That is actually the linchpin for how this deck works. You can't really have the mono-green Stompy without the mono-green engine. And the Mammoth's really only good in my opinion, under certain circumstances. But there are some landfall triggers in here. Another thing that's missing, and this one is kind of a huge miss. There's not really ramp in there. So no cultivates, none of the... Oh, I can't remember the mutate creature. My mind just went blank. The editor will have it on the screen, but it's the one that every time it mutates, it lets you go and find stuff. Generally with this, I'm running 4 copies of Gemraiser because, you know, you're trying to get rid of stuff. And that's what that kind of needs. So this green one in particular, I think, is kind of a fail. It's got some of the components, but it's actually missing quite a few of the vital pieces. Now, you didn't say please. I think this Azorius deck is probably the best of these decks. And I think it's the best put together for what they're trying to do. But we'll go ahead and look at it like we did the others. Picture of Dream Trawler, a card that I wanted so badly to get banned in Standard. Can't wait for it to rotate out. I absolutely despise that card. Yeah, see, this one, pull tab opened onto that part. So very hard to get some of these off. So 3 of the 4 were very difficult without potentially damaging cards. Alright, so we've got Amarius Call. We've got the Skyclave Cleric. We've got 2 of our Dream Trawler, 2 Archon, 2 Shatter of the Sky, a Doomscar, Sharp Typhoon, 3 copies of Elspeth Conquers Death, playset of Temple of Enlightenment, then of course the tap lands, Neutralize, Saw It Coming, only 1 copy in here. There's For Meaning, Behold the Multiverse, Birth of Meletus, Omen of the Sea, Banishing Light, and Glass Casket. So, pretty well put together, and I think very minor changes to get this one up to a good play. So, 1 copy of Skyclave Apparition, 3 of Confounding Conundrum, then we have Arcana Sun's Grace, another one, 3 copies of Mystical Dispute, Essence Scatter, 2 more Glass Caskets, Banishing Light, and another Skyclave Apparition at the back, just for good measure. So overall, I think this deck is the most well put together, and I think this is probably, if you're trying to pick one up for the highest value, I think this one has some of the best cards other than, you know, Embercleave, which is a pretty good amount, and Rogue's having those Temple of Deceits, which are a few bucks. So I'll have prices for each of these decks, hits for the cards, and basically the cost everything above $2 and then the cost to buy the deck if you're just buying the singles. So these are running between $25 and $30. So depending on the price you pick it up, it could either be a deal or not a deal. I mean, you saw that one, we had 2 copies of Skyclave Apparition, a Doomscar. It's pretty close to the $25 mark at that point. So depending on what you pick these up, they could be worth it or not worth it. Kind of standard fare and, standard as well. So thank you all for joining us today. If you're on the lookout for cards, please check out our sponsor over at Geekified. You can find them at geekified.us. They have both singled and sealed product. So go ahead and check them out and let them know that we sent you. So if you liked what you saw today, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell notification, and you can join us in our Discord to find out when we're meeting next. So we want to thank you all for coming today and spending your time with us, and we hope to see you next time. So thank you for coming again, and the meeting is now adjourned. Hope you have a fantastic day.